So I've been a father for 21 years now, a single father for almost 10 years. And all the things that can happen to fathers, I've been through it all. I can speak on it. I've done videos about it. Maybe not as much videos as I should have done, but this video I'm about to play right now, this guy, he just talks about some of the things single fathers go through or just fathers go through, trying to get custody, things like that. So we make a lot of fun and we crack jokes and things about, hey, it's your fault and things like that. But it definitely has been a learning lesson. I know I look young. You guys are like, JR, you got a 21-year-old? Yeah, I know I look like I'm in my 20s. I get it. I'm still sexy and all that. I'm handsome. But yeah, I've been on both sides of it. Custodial, non-custodial parent. And I've been in court trying to get custody. So I know the drill, guys. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip and get you guys' thoughts on it as well as give my thoughts on it. So let's go.
Got with this woman being reckless and she got pregnant. I was like, okay, well, I can still handle, being a dad and I ain't gotta live there or whatever.
Right.
But she wanted more than that. It just got real bad. Telling me doctor's appointments with certain places I show up and I'm there 2-3 hours, nobody answering the phone. Then when you do answer, oh, my bad, it was at this place instead. Stuff like that. And I go to my sister's house and she pulls up, banging on the door. She holding my son. He 9 months old, right? So I open the door. He goes trying to reach for me. I'm going to grab him or whatever. He do that to everybody. You ain't nobody special. She's about to leave and she says, come out, I got to tell you something. So I go up to the car. I'm on the passenger side. She let the window down. She says, lean in. I'm like, what I gotta lean in for? I can hear you right here. She throws it in reverse. Yo, boom. Run over my foot.
Man, women are toxic as hell. I had a similar situation happen like that with my ex-wife, even though I had full custody of my kids and still do. But she almost hit me with the door if I didn't move when she was pulling off. But you have women who basically just want to make your life a living hell, guys. And that one moment of pleasure, you decided to shoot a club up for whatever reason, and you end up in a situation where you're dreading it for the next 18 years. Chasing behind a child that you got, your child, you got an attachment to them. She's telling you, okay, this is what's going on this day. This is at this appointment. Would you like to be there? All those things like that. And then lying to you or saying, hey, you're asking to see your child and you go to meet them. This didn't happen to me, but I know guys personally who've driven hundreds of miles to pick their child up or told that they were going to be able to pick their child up for the weekend and they're nowhere to be found. And it's a terrible situation that women, and I don't want to use the T word, but the terror that is inflicted on men. And I think Carlos Miller even talked about this stuff, if I'm not mistaken, about women love to see, they talk about emotional damage, but they love to emotionally damage men or hurt them in some way, shape, or form in whatever way they can, because they are damaged. And sometimes you don't find that out till it's too late. But let's go on to the next clip. Let's go.
We have the custodial parent and the non-custodial parent, right? Have you been on the non-custodial side, so where your kids weren't living with you?
I've been on both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say one side is easier than the other?
According to the mother, the custodial is harder.
Right.
But that was the easier one for me, So when it was non-custodial, a lot of the pains and anxieties and stresses of not knowing what the child's doing, not knowing who they're around, what's going on with them, are they being taken care of properly? Wow. All of that stuff weighs on you.
Right.
But when you're the custodial, you see everything.
There.
You're right there. So you're more hands-on. You're more in control of certain things. So that was easier for me.
Right. Same.
I agree with him, but we do have what would be considered inconveniences of being a custodial parent. When you're the custodial parent, most of the time you have them, or majority of the time, 80-90% of the time, with the exception of weekends and holidays that the non-custodial parent has a child. So you're basically responsible to getting them, even though for a lot of women financially, they don't have to do anything. A lot of times the man is paying some sort of child support, even though I'm not saying that's going to cover everything. Because if you're a custodial parent, you do know, but there are some situations in divorce where a man has to pay child support all types of other stuff with you guys. That's separate, JR. But there are situations where you got to take care of kids. You got to pay for food, clothes. Obviously, shelter is where you already got to pay for anyway, but kids eat, things like that. They need things. But the time put into it, as opposed to a lot of times the non-custodial parent has more free time. I will say that much. You do have more free time. You're free if you don't have other kids, but obviously you do have free time to do whatever you want to do for the most part, with the exception of those dedicated times you have to be with your child. But there is more control and influence with the custodial parent, for sure. But there's something you have to fight for, and guardian ad litem, it gets very expensive, guys, if you haven't been through that situation. And it's very heartbreaking. It's a terrible feeling. The anxiety that comes along with it is not good. And you're basically fighting this other person to see who's the best parent. And even though they know they're not in a good situation, and in my state, the state that I live in, the mother is the de facto custodial parent, especially if you're not married. And even if you are married, a lot of times it's given to the mother. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get on to this next clip. Let's go.
I found this out the hard way. I thought that if you pay child support, you automatically have rights to see your child. That's not true either.
I have a family member was arrested for being $1 behind.
It happens. I went for being 0 behind. She had some pull in during the courts here and stuff like that. I was at work living in Charleston. My wife at the time called me. I was just getting off. She said, you might want to hurry up and get here. Right. Said, there's cops all in the front yard. I'm like, for what?
All in the front yard.
Yeah. I was like, for what? So I go home. I get there. They're like, yeah, you such a son. Yeah. Well, I need you to turn around, put your hands up. I'm not knowing what's going on. They was like, Greenville, sheriff is on the way. I'm like, what in the world do you mean? They were like, they flying to pick you up. I'm walking through the airport, shackled up like Hannibal Lecter. It's people looking at me like I'm a murderer. I'm still not knowing why. On a passenger plane, coming back to Greenville, still not knowing why. Get to the jail. They say, yes, child support.
Time out. Where were you?
Charleston.
And they flew you?
Flew. Yo.
I'm done.
They flew me. When they tell me what it was for, I was like, oh, yeah, I know y'all got the wrong person. I said, because I don't owe. Took 2 days for me to go before a judge. Only way I got out, and this is how I knew it was her, the judge was looking at the stuff and he said, I can't even find who authorized this. He was like, we don't fly to pick somebody up for child support.
Yeah, you got to have some pull. I've never heard of that, where they actually fly. These cops are getting per diem to fly, get on a plane, Charleston to Greenville, if he's talking about South Carolina, which I believe he is. That's a 20-minute flight, tops, maybe 30 minutes. You're flying there to pick this man up, cops in the yard. Obviously, they have no problem. For something as little as $1 child support or whatever, you're in arrears. And he said he wasn't even in arrears. But women have this magical way of convincing people to do things, and especially if she had some illegal stuff done like this in the court, to have somebody authorize a warrant for this man's arrest and to make it that sudden for them to go and pick you up. Usually they don't waste resources like that. But for some reason, the guys who are trying to do right, you got guys who will never pay anything and they never get picked up. But that's one of those things. My ex-wife, she would just quit her job as soon as they would go to garnish her wages. She would go from job to job as soon as they would go to garnish. And it's a crazy process I don't even want to get into, because if I sat here and told you all the stuff that went into it and how she would finesse it and quit her job, and it would take, once she quit the job, it would take another 90 days. She'd have to be ruled back in. They'll have to find out where she works at and do, it's all kind of crazy stuff. But she had it down to where she was able to do that. But men don't get that same benefit of the doubt unless you're a pookie that doesn't care about your kids. But one thing I always say, women know who to do this with. They will try to punish the guys who want to be in their kids' life. A man that she knows ain't shit, she don't care, man. But anyway, I'm done talking. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Comment below. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit me up on Linktree to book a one-on-one with yours truly. Purchase all my books, merch, t-shirts. Helps us support the channel. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. With that being said, much blessings and abundance. Stick around for the next video that's going to pop up on the screen below. That's where I'm going to see you guys at. This is your favorite everything. This is Wisdom. I'm out of here. Peace.
Yeah. 50 Cent. 50. Part 2. Bring it back. Yeah. Can't forget Tony. 50. UK.